Yeah.
That was fucking wild.
Yeah. Welcome to Breakstuff. This week and basically the next 2 episodes, we have a very special guest. To take you back to 2021, I interned at a studio in the Netherlands, and I met this Irish man who ended up being a very close coworker friend.
We touch each other sometimes.
We touch each other sometimes. It's supposed to be secret, Danny.
I mean, we're on this now. We're like, I'm all the way out in LA to see you. You think I'm not coming to? Yeah, you know.
Everybody, Danny Sykes. Everybody, woo!
How we doing?
Danny, how are you doing?
Sweaty.
You brought me some Trulies.
Yeah,
so...
I already started.
I know you did.
Truly delicious.
Danny, tell me about your time in LA so far.
Oh, my time in LA so far. Everyone's been really nice to me.
Which, like, I was kind of surprised by it initially. I was like, oh man, like you're having good times.
Yeah, dude. I walked, as you know, I walked a while.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't figure out how to pay for anything. So I just was like, I'm just gonna walk to Venice Beach.
Yeah.
And then I walked the entirety of Venice Beach, which is why I'm like turning into Patrick Star.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's been super nice. I met the SYKES. I met the
you met the whole. Someone made you a bracelet?
Someone made me a bracelet with an old part from a bracelet that I broke as I was showing him it. So I went to show him it, and he was like, oh, like, what kind of bracelet do you have? And as I turned my wrist, it just explodes. And then he was like, oh, man, I can fix that for you. And, like, he from scratch built it with lava rock. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
And then I walked, and some lady offered me 4 grams of weed for €10 out of a golden box. And she had
specifically euros.
Yeah. Did I say euros? $10.
Could you imagine? She was like, no dollars. You're like, we're in Los Angeles, right?
Like, no, I need euro or frankincense.
Euros. That's it, man.
Yeah, euros or frankincense, and I don't want to hear anything else about it.
Amazing. Okay, so Danny, take me back. What was your, like, I remember my first day going to, the studio is called Whistlelord Studios. I remember my first day, I went to the wrong building.
Okay,
first. Nice. It was like one of the places across. And it was like one of the business ones, and I was like, hello, and like I had a suitcase and I was confused, and they were like, what are you doing? And I was like, the studio, and they're like, that way.
Yeah.
And then I came in, and luckily like a friend from Berkeley was like waiting for me, and then she was showing me around, and then you just appeared out of nowhere, and she's like, this is Danny. And then that was about it.
And then we became forever linked.
Yes, forever linked.
Yeah, well, my first day when I got to Whistlelord, or first day when you got to Whistlelord?
I don't know. It could be either or. What do you think is more interesting?
I think spotty on both.
Yeah, no, me too. It's like a blur.
Yeah, it's a blur. You get there and you kind of just end up. Yeah, it's been 3 months, and you're like, shit. Where did that fucking go? You know. Yeah. And then the rest of the time you're there, you're just doing things, and like, I think my best experience was definitely meeting other people. My first experience there, like within the first week, I went in because I had nothing else to do.
Yeah.
During COVID, so everything was locked down. And then I stupidly was like, fuck it, I can start drinking with these people in the studio, because everyone was super friendly, and there was a lot of people there at the time, and they were all entertaining to talk to say the least.
For sure.
But within the first week, I had let Joe stick and poke a tattoo on me. I had
where is that?
It's here. It originally was here and here, so in the same session.
So you covered it up.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah, I think it was effective. You know,
I watched Joe do another stick and poke on one of my friends, on our friends.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oi, bet you want another one?" And I was like, "No, I'm good.
I'm solid. Yeah,
I'm all right." And then he tried. He gave you a mohawk.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so for anyone who doesn't know, I shave my head a lot. However, at one point you get tired of cutting your own hair. You get tired of it because you're like,
you're annoyed.
It's like a fussy thing, and it makes a mess, and it's easier also if someone else just does the lines. So I asked Joe to do a mohawk for me, and I explained it very simply to him. We'll start wide and work our way in. He goes, got you, chief. And I'm like, nice.
Yeah, and also to preface, I was also in on this. Like, I was going to do it after Danny.
The plan was for 2 of us to do it. Yeah, it was going to be like a unity thing.
Yes.
And then Joe just started at a right angle and immediately fucking murdered my hair.
I remember seeing it, and I just like inaudibly went, oh.
I think everyone did. Kia in particular was like, Joe, what the fuck have you just done to him?
Yeah.
And like that was the first time I'd ever like I've shaved my head before that, but it was the first time I was ever doing it when I was in like a social situation.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh wow, I don't look good. But then I somehow, again, this is the thing of being new there and excited and everything. I somehow just didn't think it was a bad idea to let him full Patrick Stewart me.
Yeah.
So he fucking went at it with a razor. Remember, he put all the foam on it and just smacked the back of my head, foam everywhere. He goes, bean, full bean. And the entire time I'm just thinking, like, why did I let this man shave my head to begin with?
Yeah.
And then it was a long recovery period. I remember showing the girl I was dating at the time.
Well, no, I remember afterwards you like you went to your room for a minute, and I was like, and I just remember being like, fair.
I was just
like,
looking in the mirror, contemplating what the fuck I'd done wrong. Like, well, I shouldn't have let it happen.
I mean, if anything, I got revenge for you because I shaved Joe's head later.
Yeah, but the problem was Joe wanted it. Like Joe,
he
like,
wanted it, but it wasn't. I'll tell you, it wasn't a good one for me.
No, I remember walking in like a day or two later, and like he's in mastering 2, and Rafael goes, "Yo, dude, what the fuck are you guys doing here? It's first Joe, now you." And I go, "First Joe," and I walk into like M2, and I'm nearly blinded by the shine of his head, and he just goes, "Solidarity, brother."
Yikes. Yeah,
that was one of the weirder experiences probably in the time there.
For sure.
But when I met you, I remember I was really surprised with you, as I am with a lot of Berkeley people, but not necessarily for the right reasons. With you, it was the right reason of like, it was the first person with work ethic. And then also this like yearning to explore and like get like comfortable with the place and try the equipment and everything. And I remember you had an impact because you were the first person I was like, oh, I could actually work with this person. And I kind of knew that from the moment that we started talking, because like I think I was wearing a Tool shirt or something, or like there was some kind of connection where you went like, yo, you like this band? And I go, yeah. I think I was wearing a Tool shirt and you asked if I liked Pussifer. And because I knew who Pussifer was, you were like, okay.
Yeah, because that is like still my favorite band. No one knows that band. Like, and even Andy's shaking his head. He's like, dude, you're a freak.
But the fact that we were like, when we started talking about it, and I was just like, oh, dude, and like, do you know Primus? And like,
yeah.
And suddenly we just had all these links and all these things where I was like, oh, wow, we actually have a lot of like similarities.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the best part about it for me was I was just like, okay, this is someone I could like make music with or jam with. But when I showed you demos, I could see you were already trying to work out bits. And you were also just super for projects, and you were also, more importantly, the only person who ever woke up on time.
Yeah.
Like you used to, I genuinely, and I guess I can say it now. I said it to you before, I think, but like genuinely, when we first met, I thought like you would wake up at 7 a.m, and I thought you were just cranking it in your room.
Oh yeah, no,
because
our boss Malik also thought that too.
Because every time we were having a shower, I'd wake up and at 7 a.m, I'd just hear, come on. Yeah. And then it wasn't until like maybe a week or two in that I realized you were working out.
Yeah.
He was just doing like box squats, push-ups, and sit-ups in his room.
I was on a full calisthenics routine at that moment in time because I didn't want to get a gym membership when I was in the Netherlands for that 3 months. So I just did full calisthenics. Yeah, no, Malik, our boss, at one point came in and he's like, do you have a girl in there? And I was like,
why is he British?
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you have a girl in there?
I don't know.
It is you need to say, do you have a girl?
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
On
he works with I can't do it. I confidently don't. But and I was like, no. And he's like, I'm not even trying to do it, but he's like, it sounds like you're fucking. And I'm like,
sounds like you're fucking.
And there you go. And I was like, no, just doing like push-ups for 9 minutes straight. And he was like, oh.
That's the funny thing is, as soon as he realizes it's not anything that interesting, he's like completely turned off by it. He's like, oh, okay.
And he's like, you are boring. And I'm like,
you are trying too hard.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no, that was crazy.
Yeah, sharing a wall was fun. Probably more chaotic on your side, because I
was so truthful. Like I really like, even if you did have someone over, like I was asleep most of the time, even if you did. So like,
oh, wow.
And just like if I'm out, I'm out.
Okay. Yeah.
So like it takes me a lot. So like when you're like, oh sorry, I'd be like, no.
Yeah, I remember when you stayed on my sofa when you came last summer to the Netherlands again for your return. But I remember I was amazed. Like I would get up and like probably always later than you, but there was one day I remember one day in particular where I was up before you and I was getting up to go have a shower. I think I was going to work or something. And then I saw you on the sofa and I like looked at you and I was like, if I was you, I would have been awake because I dropped my bag or something and like I expected you to be sat up staring at me, but you didn't flinch.
I think like there's something like my dad has it too, where if we tell ourselves when we're waking up, like what to expect when we're waking up, it just happens. Like my dad wakes up at like 6 a.m. every morning, but he can tell himself on Saturday he's sleeping until 9 and he'll wake up at 9 at the dot.
Okay. Good body clock.
I guess, I don't know. I can't explain it. Sometimes it's obviously not good, but like even today, like we went to bed like at 1 and I was like, I need to wake up at 8. And like, yeah, I had an alarm, but like once that alarm went off, I wasn't like, oh, I was
You're
like,
like, I'm
okay, yeah,
ready to
we're
go.
good. Let's go.
Yeah. I think this morning was the first time I'd woken up in a while where I was like, I'm ready to go. And considering I walked the entirety of Venice Beach in the heat yesterday,
Yeah.
I'm amazed I'm still alive today.
I'm amazed you survived. He would give me updates because I had to go to work. So I was like, you can stay here in the apartment or I could drop you off in Santa Monica where my work is. And then you can just kind of explore, at least like do something instead of just being here. Because like what you found going to Target, like there's like stuff around here, but it's also not like,
It's not super convenient.
it's not
Yeah.
super convenient. And like he would send me updates. Like it'd be like 2 hours. He's like, yeah, I'm at the beach. And then like 2 hours later, he's like, ooh, I made it to Venice. I'm like, we started in Santa Monica. And I'm like, oh, you're like walking. And he's like, and like 2 hours later, Culver City. And I'm like, how did you get to Culver City?
What the fuck?
Yeah, Andy. Thank you, Andy.
Yeah,
What
dude,
the
I didn't want to
fuck?
pay for public transport, so I just walked. I proper walked for like 6 hours. I walked for 6 hours down the beach. Like I walked the entirety of it. I went from like the pier to Muscle Beach all the way down to like I was next to LAX, like, and then I walked back most of it, and then I got a bus for about like 20 minutes, but I didn't have any change, so I walked on. And I just said like, yeah, I only got 20. He goes, yeah, just go on. I'm like, oh, cheers, thanks. And I got sat down on the bus and like sat for a while, and then as I was getting off the bus, I was gonna get off there and then walk the rest of it. So like from Washington Boulevard all the way, I don't know. It's just the thing they kept repeating on the bus. So
Yeah.
I was a bit like mesmerized. But I got off the-
Today's going to be a great day.
Today's
Today's gonna be a
Have you
great
seen outside?
day.
It's beautiful.
It's such a good day.
But the best part about it was I got off the I
Sorry,
got
that's a bit we did earlier.
it's gonna be a great day.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a great.
But
day.
but the best part about it was getting off the bus like ready to like march, and this random guy asking me the time, and yeah,
So wild.
this random dude asked me what time it was, and I was like, oh, hang on a second, brother. I took out my phone. And it's like, oh, it's 3 minutes to 5, and he goes, oh, cool. I'm not gonna miss clocking in. I'm like, solid, man. You work next to here? And he goes, yeah, I work in Roberta's. And I'm like, oh, cool. And he goes, yeah, if you want to have a beer, maybe come by later, man. I was like, I could go for a beer now. He goes, now? And I'm like, oh, yeah. And he goes, oh, solid, dude. And he gives me a handshake. He goes, I'm George. And I'm like, nice to meet you, George. I thought his name was Roy at first.
Yeah, I
but-
know you texted me. You're like,
Yeah.
Roy is hooking me up.
Yeah,
and you're
yeah.
like, oh wait, his name's George.
Yeah, no, Roy was the skater I talked to earlier. But then, I basically, George was like, yeah, come on, sit. And he was like, wait by those bushes. I'll come get you in a second. I was like, oh, that sounds super dodgy. But
Yeah.
then it turns out really fancy place. So he comes up to me and he's like, yeah, I'll get you a table. You're in my section. And he comes out and gives me a beer. And I'm like, oh, nice. I'm drinking a beer. And it was a really nice hazy IPA. And I was like, this is super refreshing. And he comes up and goes, oh, yo, motherfucker, you got to order something. And I'm like, a little aggressive, but like, I think he said it caringly.
Caringly, yes.
Caringly.
Yeah.
But
I think that's a word.
I think it's appropriate.
Yeah.
But he said it with love and like some zest. And then the reaction I had was essentially just like, all right, what's the cheapest thing on the menu? So I got bread. And he just kept bringing me beer. And he kept bringing me beer, and then a tequila shot, and then another beer. And the third beer, or second or third beer, and the tequila shot in. I was like, you know what? I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, you're like, I'm all right.
I'm good. And then I paid and I tipped because that's what you guys fucking do here. And that's
Yeah, I know, it's wild.
respect to the service industry workers. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Talks with Tea has
Talks
appeared.
with tea with the hard seltzer.
No, those are Celsius.
Celsius. Oh, they're energy drinks.
Yeah.
Oh. I'm really looking forward to it.
All right. Can you turn the light off, please? Thank you.
Fucking up our vibe. She did not like that.
None of you would be here right now, but
Okay.
wrong.
I know we were meant to be in the studio.
We were,
Yeah.
and then it didn't work out.
It's okay.
I don't know. Just don't turn on the lights.
But yeah, I drank a lot of beer and then I got an Uber home.
Yeah.
And then the Uber home, I heard a lot of music and it was a real cerebral experience for me.
Yeah.
I was really like living all my childhood dreams of like LA when it came to like all the films and the games I watched, and I was like, wow, this place really is what they say it is. Take that however you will.
Yeah, no, it's very fascinating, and you haven't even seen all of it, which is crazy.
Mm. Well, yeah, I basically only barely scratched the surface. I did see a lot of the interesting experiences when it comes to like the people in LA. I've
Mm.
definitely gotten a taste for LA life in terms of the people that. There's a lot of fucking NPCs here, man.
Oh yeah,
Like I feel like I'm constantly getting like side quests suggested to me,
yeah.
and I'm like, okay, this works for me.
Mhm.
However, uh, am I gonna get stabbed?
Yeah, no, it's always it's a dodgy kind of area. You never know. Someone might be really nice, but then they get too nice, and you're like, wait,
I'm super suspicious of people being nice.
you should be very suspicious of people.
I
being
leaned
nice.
into it yesterday. It was kind of, and it worked out. Some guy offered me an apple.
Yeah, and
walking-
you took the apple.
I did. It was delicious.
Yeah,
Walking down the road and then like made eye contact with the guy and gave him a nod and like, "How you, man?" He goes, "Ah, pretty good, you." And I'm like, "Good." Look down, he's about to eat an apple. I'm like, "Enjoy your apple, man." He goes, "You want an apple?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I want an apple." And then give me an apple. And I was
Yeah.
walking down the street eating the apple, like, "Oh, I really, this is LA is not half bad."
yeah. No, it's not bad.
And
with
cocaine
your,
in the apple.
yeah, there's so much cocaine in the apple. So with I'm curious, your thoughts, because like you mentioned when we were starting to write stuff, like, and you're like deciding, oh, I do want to work with this guy. Like when I met you, you were showing me a bunch of stuff that was like really heavy riffs, but it was all like very Nine Inch Nails, like
Mhm.
industrial drum production. How do you think your writing has kind of changed a bit?
I have a good drummer.
Yeah, you don't have to program drums anymore.
Yeah, I'm so fucking lazy. I am such a lazy engineer and producer in this terms of like I will always record things analog, or like if it's tape echo feedback thing, or if it's like a trash mic or room mics that I'm going to trash or whatever, I would rather set it up beforehand, have it recorded, and then put it in the mix or the song or whatever you want to call the project, whatever level it's at. I would much prefer to do that than sit there and tweak it for hours. And for me, that was the big thing holding me back, was I knew how to get the nice sound. I just didn't
Yeah.
have the fucking whereabouts to put the effort in. Same thing when it came to like playing guitar and playing bass and singing. I was just impatient of waiting for other people to do the thing that I would like them to do and envision what I want to do. That's one of the reasons I love our band so much, is because I don't have to think.
Yeah.
Because somehow you have tapped into my cerebral cortex and you know what I want before I even know what I want.
Yeah.
And that's insane to me. And for me, that was like, as a beginner, like musician, in terms of when I met you, I was very like early on in my playing a career. I'd only been playing for like 2 and a bit years when we
Yeah.
met. And now, like 5 years in, I'm much more confident with it. But when we first met, I was like really nervous to play with someone who had actually like gone to music school and like learned, how to count to 4 in so many different ways.
Right.
And
Yeah. Count to 4 in so many different ways.
sometimes you count to 6,
Yeah.
or
you
8,
count to
or
7,
3.
Or 3.
Mine goes to about 4, so that's
Yeah,
that's my
yeah.
baseline.
No, I think it's interesting because like when I met you, like your production skills were already like good. I had 0. And then you were starting at instrumentally, but I was like instrumentally was like my thing. So we've like balanced each other out, and like almost like in an X like motion. Like we have enhanced both the things that what we met each other weren't the best at, but like could get by.
Oh, 100%.
And then now it's like, oh, we feel competent in
Well,
doing this.
yeah, I always like give the credits to you for being the reason I like song structure so much more than I used to. For me, song structure used to be so like, oh man, am I gonna what should I put here? Like,
Yeah.
I could listen to something again and again and again, but it doesn't make it interesting. It just makes it a cool thing that you hear 19 times or whatever the fuck
Yeah.
number you want to do. And a lot of people's music is that, and like especially when they're starting out, it's just this. I had this really cool idea, so let me just repeat this, and then repeat this, and then repeat this, and then just
Yeah,
keep
yeah,
going.
yeah.
And then there's no diversity to it. But then when I was working with you, there was this lovely thing of dynamics where I could see when you pushed and pulled, and when you went heavy or when you went lighter, and the dynamics throughout the way you played gave me my vision for the song structure.
Yeah.
And I remember, especially when we were recording our album, we were
Album.
album. We worked way too long on this.
It's gonna be good though.
It's gonna be really good.
The wait has been worth it for sure.
Oh, for sure. Like, but like as we've been doing that, I'm reminded every day. It's like it's so much easier to do these projects when multiple people share the vision,
Yeah.
and or create the vision. So in a lot of cases, the way we work is kind of how I've always wanted to work with people.
Mhm.
It's not like because when we met and I was doing all the heavy process stuff, and it was out of necessity.
Mhm.
Like I had to do this, I had to do this. So I felt like I was spreading my butter very thin, and I got some really nice, sweet, salty butter. You know, like
Yeah.
I want to like focus that in an area where it's worth it.
Yeah.
But if I had to spread that all the way out to the crusts, that's not really, ideal. Whereas if you guys bring in the sauce,
Then you're
I
set.
can spread that shit out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But like for me, the way you guys complement my my production is really like, as in like you guys complement it, like you build into it really well.
Yeah, it's all like I think like establishing roles. Like even Andy and I were talking about like the stuff that he's working on with our bassist, and it's like it's good because like you have like different sections where it's like, oh, I'm gonna be writing this stuff, and then it's my job later to like come in and then actualize it and realize like dynamically how it's supposed to be shaped.
Yeah.
Because like even the the riffs you were giving me when we first started, and even on the album, it's like you could play the same riff over and over again, but if the drums actually like dynamically change it, so like you could change up the groove, like how it feels, the riff is still the same, but it sounds different.
Yeah.
So like that's like the cool thing about drums is like you can really throw around a bunch of different stuff, and it literally sounds like completely different, but it's the same guitar riff, same
Well,
bass
there's
riff.
times in our songs where like I'm working on them or editing or producing them or whatever, and there's a huge thing of like I mute the guitars and bass, and then I'm like, oh wow, this song is carried by the drums, because the drums are the most identifiable thing. That and the vocals, like everything else just is complementary.
Mhm.
I essentially look at like all the effects and the guitars and the bass and everything is like makeup to our banging body and banging face. You know,
Yeah.
like that's the kind of way. And depending on what your interest is going into music, like if you're more of a drummer or vocalist person or whatever, then, and because we talked about a lot, people listen to the drums and the vocal the most because
Yeah.
generally that's the rhythm and the melody,
Yeah.
and that's what people identify with and like and relate to the most, and then everything else is complementary. And I always see it as like, if you go into it being someone who likes vocals or likes storytelling or voicing or whatever, then you're gonna be drawn towards the vocals. But if you like groove or energy, then you're gonna like the drums more.
Right.
And for me, that's a big thing, or like why I like making music with you so much, is because I have to turn my brain off and just go, what do I feel? And then
Yeah.
you take care of the like how it should progress. And there's been times where like, I remember when we first playing together, I would go along and it's like, I got a cool riff, and then you change it and I go,
Yeah.
like,
It's almost like a stop, like, oh wait, what do I
wait, how do this? And it's like, oh, palm mute, and then like spread out the riff or like elongate it or whatever. And it's like, it made me think differently. And then especially as this album's grown, it's like, oh, we really like playing tennis with each other, essentially.
Yeah, no, for sure.
The back and forth, like between the guitars and drums and the bass and drums and the vocals and drums and everything with the drums and everything with each other. It's very like everything's grooving with each other, but then also giving everything its a moment to
Yeah.
shine, like little harmonics and then cymbal hits or vocal grunts and then big tom hits and stuff like that. It's like, oh, that all like kind of synonymously gels together as this really nice pancake of like, just it feels good.
Yes.
I need another seltzer, because for those of you who don't know, Los Angeles is too warm. Los Angeles is not built for gingers, and I feel personally attacked.
I was confident you were gonna die.
I mean, it's only 2 days out of 11.
Yeah, I know. And one of the days you're going to Bakersfield, which I'm
The armpit.
worried about for you.
The armpit of the of Los Angeles.
I guess. I don't know why that's the term. It's so far away from Los Angeles.
I had some woman on the plane like mansplain how bad Bakersfield was to me, and I was like, cool. My best friend who I'm visiting, his family's from there.
From there.
That maybe don't be so offensive, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I don't take offense to it. I think like Tiona said it on our last podcast. I take offense if you've never been there. And then you're like,
and then you talk shit.
and then you're talking shit. It's like you don't know what it
Yeah.
is.
It's like when I say Arlen's a shithole, and then I hear someone else say it, I'm like, you haven't
It's like,
lived it.
Yeah,
Get the fuck.
you don't know what it is.
Yeah, you don't know how it is. You're probably right, but you don't
Yeah,
know.
like you don't know.
Yeah.
You're just making assumptions.
Yeah. I need another seltzer.
Okay, well wait, Andy, what time are we at? You just look at the phone. Like on the runtime of the on the phone. On the phone that's filming.
The phone that's filming. The filming.
36? 26?
26.
Well, Danny, for our episode, do you have any final words or thoughts?
Final words or thoughts?
Yes, before
think-
you grab another seltzer.
I think you're very handsome.
Oh my gosh, thank
my
you so
God.
much.
Tiana, he's a gorgeous man. Look at this man. Every fucking day.
Okay, so this has been Break Stuff. It's been awesome. Have a great rest of your week. Thank you, everybody.
I love you, Carson.